Well, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for one of our OC Spotlights. The one show, maybe the only show that shows you the most incredible people doing the most amazing things right here in our backyard. And today we have a returned guest. He's been here a couple times. Welcome back, Howard Leonhardt. Welcome, sir. Welcome back to the show here.
Hi, everybody, and thanks, Paul.
Howard, for those that don't recall, is a genius. He does all sorts of crazy things there. Years ago, we'll give it a little 60-second summary. You built some hearts, some stents and stuff. That's where you kind of made your name and made your money and all that stuff here. Wasn't it like
a stent graft for repairing aortic aneurysms without surgery? That was one of the big hits in the late 1990s.
Well, we're on a radio station, so we're playing some of the oldies but goodies here. We're playing some of the hits. And from there, you moved into the same building we're in, the UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. And you started telling me how you're going to extend healthy life for like 20 years. And I'm like, Howard, okay, maybe you can put a stent in, maybe you can fix something. And I know you got 50 patents. What do you got, like 500 patents or something? You got a whole bunch of patents, right? How many?
Over 33 issued patents, but each patent has 20 to 30 claims to it. So
okay.
500 patent claims.
So all this stuff you have pioneered and put together, all with this goal in mind of extending healthy life. And you would tell me in great detail, like a fire hose, you'd hit me with this information in the hallway, all these things you're working on and doing. And this was supposedly going to take place in a new concept you called Lionheart, a play on your real name, Leonhardt. Lionheart Longevity and Wellness, basically like your version of a med spa, right? And I watched you work on this and talk about it, and I said, okay, yeah, I know this is ambitious. He'll get one open, maybe two. You've already got two, and now you're poised to open what, another 122 or something like that here? You're really, this is really happening. This is really taking off here.
Our goal is to open up 124 locations over the next 60 months, and we are open in Newport Beach, just a few miles from here on 4740 Van Carmen Avenue, Suite 150 in Newport Beach. And we're open in Manhattan, in Midtown on 37th Street, and we've made our first license agreement to physicians in San Diego that have signed on to open 3 locations in the San Diego metro area, and they've already opened in Mission Bay. And then we've entered an agreement for Scottsdale, Arizona, and we're about to finish agreement for 3 locations in Houston and a location in Seagirt, New Jersey.
Wow. Okay, I'm just amazed. I'm watching the rocket ship take off. I watched you tinker in the back room making the rocket ship, and now the rocket ship has launched, and it's about to go into the stratosphere. And that's why we'll talk about your guest here that you're running today that's going to help you take it to that level. But before we do, let's just remind people, this is all based on some science that you stumbled upon years ago and have taken to an extreme height as well. This whole idea of biostimulation. Somehow you're using electrical stimulation to do what? To affect stem cells and this, what's that other crazy thing you always tell me to remember here? The
Clotho.
Clotho, yes. How could I forget Clotho? Just what I was talking about the other day. This Clotho protein that you somehow you didn't stumble up, some other people in Japan or something stumbled on this.
Right.
You stumbled on the research and started taking this to the next level. Give us, if you can, a layman's understanding of biostimulation of this Clotho protein.
Well, for us, it all started with the heart. You know, Walt Disney, one of my heroes, it all started with the mouse. For us, it all started with the heart. And in 1988, working with Dr. Ray Scow and George McGovern in Pittsburgh, we worked with a team that injected animals for the first time that had failing hearts from an induced heart attack, and we were able to show that we could bring those hearts back to full function by injecting muscle stem cells, and that began a new journey.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. I wouldn't start with the Walt Disney exploration of mouse and then talk about how you're inducing heart attacks in mice. Well, maybe that's not quite
the... we saved those mice, though.
Okay, all right.
After we were done, they had great hearts.
All right.
And it is hard to tell the story short, but we, as a group, took the prize of that was an animal done in 1988, and it took all the way to 2001. This research is done carefully.
Right.
In medicine, it's always do no harm, so we had to carefully plot along and make sure that it was right, and double check to make sure it was right,
and triple check and quadruple check,
Yep.
and run studies and et cetera, to take all this stuff in the building, all this biomedical stuff they're developing here, which UCI is known for. It's 10, 20-year horizon before it even becomes testable or to the public. I mean, you guys.
And in this case, from 1988, the very first human patient that our group completed, the very first human in history of using muscle stem cell to regenerate their heart without surgery. There was one group that did it before us in France with surgery, but we were the
Right.
first to run a catheter up the groin of the patient and inject muscle stem cells in their damaged heart. And this particular lady ended up having a improved heart function after we made just one injection session.
Wow.
Along the way, we learned that bioelectric stimulation, I had met Dr. Robert Becker, the author of the book Body Electric, and he influenced us to start exploring the use of bioelectric protein expression to help regenerate organs.
And I know you speak in English there, but I'm going to try and translate it for those that don't. Bioelectric, putting little electrodes on. You're basically
Yes.
sending a small pulse, electrical signal in, like some people have used to. We've had people come in here and talk about putting on these body suits that suddenly, I don't know if it takes the place of exercise or it assists you with it, but you can lose weight, or it promotes I don't know if it's losing weight or muscle growth, but you can stimulate your muscles to grow while you're sitting still. Is that any part of that?
That's one application, and we have that suit, and you might be referring to us coming
I
in,
might have been, yeah.
the BODSTIM suit
Yeah.
that we have cleared by the FDA for augmenting the benefits of exercise and building more muscle more quickly.
Right.
But along the way, we learned that we could control stem cell homing. So it began with the heart, that we had a pacemaker-like device, and we ran the leads of that pacemaker to the heart. And by controlling bioelectric signaling, a specific frequency, pulse width, pulse duration, we could recruit stem cells to the damaged part of the heart without having to inject them.
Recruit stem cells. Hey, guys, come over here. We
Yep.
need you over here.
And they move from your bone marrow and your fat to your heart. And then we learned to express certain proteins that would promote muscle regeneration, and that's where we began with Clotho.
Right.
And then we learned to promote signals that would grow blood vessels. And when you have a heart attack, you need better blood flow, you need your muscle to come back, you need to get the inflammation under control.
Right.
And we did all of these things for many, many years. And then when we got established at the laboratory here at UCI Cove, we began to explore whether all those decades of research on the heart could do anything else, could be applied to other uses. And to shorten up the story, we now have a whole package of applications, including taking away wrinkles on the face, growing hair in the head, improving sexual health, and restoring joint health, taking sore knees and making them better. And that's what we're practicing at Lionheart Longevity and Wellness at 4740 Van Carmen Avenue.
And this is all basically the same science. It's just tuned to a different frequency. Is that too simple to say?
You know, it's a little bit laughable inside the company that the exact same program that we use for recovering heart attacks is what we use for treating sexual health and wellness. We
erectile dysfunction or
improve blood flow, we regenerate muscle, we regenerate nerve connections, and we just are doing the exact same thing we were doing in the heart 20 years ago, but now we're applying it to a different place.
Or hair or skin or joints or whatever. And it's not, you pick those big four because those are the big four that what people are looking for when they go to med spas, health clinics, or whatever. These are hot topics. These are big areas that people are, I just certainly see.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And particularly skin. In our industry, we say skin brings people in. And our goal with that is to bring people in and then try to encourage them to enter our broader health optimization program or health span optimization program. And we can maybe talk about that in a moment.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what opens the door and gets people in. Hey, I got skin problems. And I go to traditional medicine and they're like, I don't know, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? There's a million products out there to treat your skin or moisturize it or whatever here. But you're trying to stimulate somehow the growth to make skin look younger and better. The same thing with hair loss. Oh, how many people have gone through hair loss? I'm not pointing at your guest, but he's one of them here. Right? He's not just a member of the club. He's a part of the club now here. And Joints. Oh my God, as I've gotten older, all the joints hurt every time I get up and move. And of course, the one that we can't get enough of on TV these days, all the sexual health issues like erectile dysfunction. All these things, the joy of getting older. I always say the good news is I'm going to be 90. The bad news is I'm going to be 90. I don't know how you want to look at it. So you're really tackling, starting with these things, but you could theoretically, you're looking at exploring all sorts of things, right? I mean, really to extend the overall health of somebody, the health and wealth, the longevity of life, not just to keep it going longer, but to keep it going better longer.
We've entered the X Prize competition, the largest prize offered in the history of mankind, $101 million prize by the X Prize committee for whoever does the best at extending health span. And without going into all the details, it requires that you reverse aging at least 20 years in at least 3 organs, and that one of those 3 organs has to be skeletal muscle, which fits into our strength with the BODSTIM suit and all the work we've done with muscle.
Right.
And we think we've got a shot. We're up against some very big competitors, some of which have billions of dollars of funding, and we don't have billion dollars of funding, but we've got some really bright people, amazing team, and we're going to take a shot at winning this grand prize. And even if we didn't get to the grand prize, they're dwindling down from thousands of entries to 40 sub-finalists, and then they're going to go from 40 to 10, and then it's going to go 10 to 2. And the final prize is $71 million for the top winner and $10 million for whoever does the best with just muscle. They have a $10 million sub-prize for whoever does a better job than anyone else in restoring muscle function in people to make their muscle more youthful.
Having watched you through the years on various shows, go from these crazy concepts, everybody, he leaves and goes, yeah, like that'll ever work. You think that'll ever happen? Oh, yeah, right. To then seeing it happen and now turning into med spas all across the country here. I'm betting on you. I don't know where the betting line is. I don't know where we place our bets, but I certainly wouldn't bet against you. Nor would I bet against the gentleman that you brought in. He's been very patient as we've gone through and explained all this, but welcome, if you will, and explain who this guy is. Scott Hoots is your new, I guess the correct title is Fractional CEO. It's kind of a part-time CEO that you brought in with the goal of turning it into a bigger, longer deal as this thing grows.
We had an introduction to our team yesterday, and I said it's like getting engaged before you get married, which this guy, by the way, is getting married next month.
Okay, there you go.
So this will be his second marriage. Scott has been a hero of mine for a number of years. He won Franchisor of the Year award last year. He took QC Kinetics, one of the leaders in regenerative medicine, from just a few locations to well over 200. I'll let him explain it, but we really feel like it's an honor to us that he would consider to give his time and energy to
even a fraction of his time.
Even a fraction of his time and energy.
Fraction.
So, Scott, what attracted you to this? How did you're Franchisor of the Year, last year for this other company. Why not just stay there and ride it all the way here? Why even spend a moment of your time fooling around with Howard and his wild, crazy ideas here?
Well, I'll get to that in a second, but Howard, thanks. And every time you tell that story about how many stores, the number keeps getting higher and higher.
It does.
Higher. So
I remember when it was 1.
Yeah, no, we got to keep doing these things.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the thing that really attracted me when Howard reached out. I had just recently left my job as CEO at QC Kinetics, and one of the things that's always important to me is what I call mission-based. I call it mission-based franchising, but this could be applied at any type of business, and that is the combination of the business model. For me in my career, it's always been in franchising,
right?
But with a business that truly has a positive impact on people's lives, and that's why I was doing what I was doing at QC Kinetics. And then when Howard approached me about joining the team here, it made a lot of sense because it was just right up my alley in terms of what's important to me, and that's helping people get better, helping improve people's lives, helping them be happier, and in our case, being able to merge a lot of that with longevity, which is really, really cool for me.
I'm closing in on 70. I'm getting pretty darn close. I'm a year or two away, and I'm that aging baby boomer who's looking ahead saying, hey, the good news is, kiddingly, I mean, I do have, my parents lived into the 90s. I could well live into my 90s or beyond. I could hit the hundreds. But what the heck what's that life going to look like? I don't want to be on a tube. I don't want to be in a nursing home. I don't want to spend 20 years in a bed. So I think the whole generation has got this good news, bad news. It's the best of times, the worst of times here. And look what's happening to my body already at this age. And I say, what's it going to look like at 80, 90, and what's that going to do to the quality of life? That's what you're tackling here. This is the most groundbreaking stuff there is out there, and potentially the most impactful in our lives, certainly my generation's lives and the lives to follow here. All right, so that's my soapbox speech for the moment here. I think you guys are doing something amazing here. Talk about the concept of scaling this. In this building, everybody's doing big deals. They just raised 100 million, 250, 10, whatever. And the whole goal is to scale it quickly, to get it up and big. Maybe to flip it, maybe to sell it, maybe just to grow it. But nobody's satisfied with just doing one or two or three of these things. So I quickly knew when Howard started doing one or two or three of these things, the way he thinks, the way everybody thinks in this building, you want it to go big. 124, I wouldn't doubt it if you came back next year and said 1,024 or whatever. I don't know. Talk about that scaling of this concept. That's where you seem to have an expertise in, Scott, taking an idea and taking it nationwide, because that's not easy to do.
Sure, I'll kind of jump in on that. And the scaling is just really about taking a solid business model or a solid idea. In our case, the idea that we could help people from the inside and on the outside and help them live healthier lives longer. It's really just about taking an idea there and putting into place processes, people, and procedures to be able to replicate that across
and you make it sound so
States.
simple, but I'll tell you, the one only shot at my life, I had a bar a million years ago. I think Howard knows this. And this is back in the 80s, and we're doing microbrewed beers and all this stuff, and we thought we were on the front edge. We were on the front edge of stuff here. Another guy down the street was building these yard houses. He built one in Long Beach. We said, we can beat him. Ours is bigger and better than his. Yeah, well, he scaled it. We didn't. We ended up going out of business. Because when we opened the second location, it didn't run like the first location, because I wasn't there. Our team wasn't there. We didn't have procedures in place. We didn't have people or know how to manage people. We knew how to run a cool neighborhood bar that was very successful for 10 years. Taking that to the next level, I could never figure out. And that's why I'm not the Yard House and I'm here today. You know, that everything you just rattled off so quickly, people, procedures, and what was the other one? People. Processes. How do you do things? And how do you make sure it's the same? Talk about that a little bit. That's not easy. You make it sound easy, but that's, to me, an almost impossible task.
Well, Paul, it definitely, you're right, it definitely isn't easy, but it's replicated all of the time across business in the form of franchising and licensing models. I mean, you know, look, McDonald's didn't get where it is today because
they had the best hamburger,
Well,
right.
the McDonald brothers didn't do that, and even Ray Kroc didn't do that.
Yeah.
The franchise owners who invested in the brand and you know, worked hard to build the brand across the United States and then later across the globe. They're the ones that did that. So it's not easy, but it is getting done all of the time.
I know it.
It's really just about choosing the right people, and I kind of go back to that people part of it because the people part of it's what's really important, and it's what is the driver of this type of scaling. When you have the right partners, the right people who are investing in the brand and investing in what you want to do, and they're investing their livelihood and their blood, sweat, and tears, then magic can
But they all want to tweak it. We actually built 3 of these bars that I'm talking about. We got to 3, and it was a nightmare because some of them we had to, one we owned, we and myself and some partners. The other one we had to come in with a partnerships. They put up most of the money, and we brought in sort of the expertise and the name. And the third one was a license. And all of them were different. The license we had very little control over, so it didn't run the way we wanted. The other guy had the money and wanted to change it. I love you, now change. And the first one ran great until it stopped 10 years later. So it can't be easy. What model are you following? Are you looking to be Mrs. Fields, where they built them all, I think, and owned them all themselves, I think, at one point in time, or most of them? Or are you going to license these and eventually maybe even franchise? Can I say the F word? I know that's a real task to get there. Is any or all of that, you exploring any or all of those models here?
Well, all of them. As Howard mentioned early on, the goal currently as it stands is to have 124, with 20 of them being corporate owned, 20 of them being partnerships, and then the rest being, at this point, license, but down the road, potentially franchises.
Yeah. And you were telling me off air, we got to spend just 2 minutes on this because it was too cool. I graduated from the University of Michigan in 1978. When I started there, a guy, Tom, what was his name? Monahan.
Yeah, Monahan.
Decided he and his brothers had started this little pizza joint over near us, near the University of Michigan at Eastern Michigan, and they opened up their second store in Ann Arbor, right on campus, right as I arrived on campus, and it swept the campus like a storm because the pizza would come to you in the middle of the snow, and it was warm. It had a little hot box in the back of the thing. Revolutionary for us.
And tasted good.
And that 30-minute bring it to you hot thing swept all the little mom and pop pizza stores that had been there for decades just away. But I left, and I never heard about Domino's until a few years later, and all of a sudden, who knew Domino's is big? When you came in the 80s, you were there for a while and took it to what? To a couple hundred stores, or a couple thousand stores or something.
Yeah, I was just part of
a team,
part
right?
of a wheel that really turned them out. But I started as a delivery driver in January of 1981 as a freshman in college, and when I left 20 some odd years later, over 5,000 stores in the United States.
Wow.
I had grown my way from delivery driver to a regional vice president that oversaw 1,500 franchise stores up and down the East Coast.
And someday, not today, you're going to tell us that story, because I don't know, as good as the pizza was and a cool idea, I don't know how they succeeded, where there must have been a million others trying to do something similar that we've never heard of since, like my bar, that got to 2 or 3 and didn't get to 2 or 3,000 or 2 or 300.
People, processes, procedures, that's it.
That's it. Well, that's what you're going to put in place for these Lionheart longevity and wellness. What's the typical size of one of these things? Are they 5,000, couple thousand, 10,000? I don't even know what size range they are.
The one here is about 2,000 square feet. The one in San Diego is much bigger. We have 4 treatment suites here in Newport Beach. In San Diego, 15 treatment suites. In New York, we only have 1 treatment suite at this time, but we're in a building where, as we expand, we can pick up additional treatment suites. But Paul, I wanted to elaborate on the very important point that you brought up, and Scott elaborated on. And we're touching on 2 of those, people and processes. So one of the great things about bringing Scott aboard is just what you hit on. We realized, the founders of Lionheart Longevity and Wellness, and you've had Dr. Sanjay Bhojraj on here, and you've had Dr. Les Miller, who are co-founders of Lionheart Health.
Brilliant guys in their own right, well-known, established people, but not business people, not franchise developers or whatever, store builders per se.
And we had we figured out exactly what you said. If we want this to go well, we've got to have the right people, the right processes, and we have to bring experience in. That experience of Scott, both with Domino's, he learned a lot over those years, and then went on and applied that to QC Kinetics, which has been truly an admirable blockbuster success, a great company that really paved the way for regenerative medicine to be reached out to more people than ever before. And it actually doesn't end with Scott. We've been very lucky to recruit an all-star team. We've recently recruited Chad Hacker, formerly Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Allergan Aesthetics, which is one of the great companies here in Orange County. Allergan sold
players,
for $63 billion with the V to AbbVie just a few years ago.
Right.
We also have brought aboard Jwala Karnik, who was Chief Medical Officer and VP of Licensing and Partnerships at Beauty Health, which is known for this product called Hydrofacial, which I think is around $340 million in annual sales, and one of the top skin regeneration products. In fact, Scott got a hydrofacial procedure today.
I can tell the glow already.
And we brought aboard Tessa Sfar. Tessa helped a Orange County-based company called Exponential Fitness. I think she said that she helped open up 60 franchises,
Sounds
and
about
she
right.
is a logistics disciplined person that makes sure that she is going to be working with Scott to be an onboard specialist, that as a new licensee, maybe in the future franchisee signs a board, or it's a corporate location, or it's a partnership location, she's going to be our go-to person, that licensee will get the right training, get the right documents, get the right processes, get the right procedures, that the sign goes up in the right location in the right way, and 100 or 1,000 other details. So we are building a team to address the risk that you had with your bar. We want quality. And the reason that we went into this, we could have just sold this to other...
Predictability.
Exactly.
To know that when I go into a McDonald's or a Domino's on that basic level, it's all the same, whether it's in Abu Dhabi or down the street. There's somehow there's a predictability to the product, to what the experience, to everything I'm going to get there. And that was what we couldn't get. It wasn't a predictable experience. It wasn't a predictable product. It wasn't anything predictable. In fact, in many cases, it didn't look like it was the same company here.
Well, that comes down to the people, and Howard mentioned Tessa, and that kind of a role of an onboarding manager is one that you probably missed there, because
Yes.
Once you bring somebody into your brand, it's like they're a very important part of your family, and you've got to get your arms around them, and you've got to make sure that the path of success is charted in a very succinct manner, and you've got to make sure that you have every single one of those steps charted out for them.
Yes.
And that you're giving them the assistance necessary to work through all
And
of
that was
those
part of the
steps.
problem. We'd go to a place and I said, that isn't the way we make the food here. That isn't the way we serve the drinks. That isn't the way we greet the customers. And they're like, well, where does it say that? Well, that's just the way we do it. Didn't you see it? Don't you know it? I could go in and see it, but I couldn't explain it. We didn't document it. We didn't figure it out. It was all in our head. And I suspect there are many people like that. They have a great idea, they have a great product, but they can't explain it and replicate it over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and that's a big part of what we want to do. You mentioned that we want somebody who maybe frequents our Newport Beach location, who might be going to New York City for a visit,
Highly
an extended
likely.
visit, and we want them to be able to walk into the Lionheart facility in Manhattan and think they're just in Newport Beach.
Exactly.
And that's the goal.
Exactly. Get the same treatment, really the same treatment from the minute you walk in the door to physical treatment that you're going to receive in the rooms themselves. Well, I'm just fascinated by this topic. I hope you guys can come back and explore this more as you grow, because that is the secret sauce that everybody's seeking. It's not just a great idea and $1 million product. It's how to replicate that and do that over and over to build that. And most times, I think most people in this building, their only goal is to come up with something and flip it and sell it. Let somebody else figure out how to take it to the next level. That's my experience. What do you think, Howard? You're in this building, all these people trying to come up with all these cures for cancer and all these things that they're doing, medical devices and stuff here. I don't think most of them want to see it through to completion. They just want to prove the concept and then sell out. Let somebody else, Allergan, for example, or pick some of the other big companies here.
In this
Edwards
case,
Life Sciences.
we really want to see it through, and we could have taken these inventions and just sold them online or to anybody that would buy them, and we quickly figured out that it would be a better model to have licensed professionals that would go through a more vigorous training program, and that could have an exclusivity of a territory to allow them to feel comfortable to invest their time, their money, into building a business in San Diego. In the case of our licensee in San Diego, we're partners in developing the knowledge, the expertise, the delivery, and we want it to be under control because we want it to be a great experience for the patients. It all goes back, or the clients. And we felt that having this model would better assure that these great inventions that happened right here in UCI Cove would be more properly handled, more properly delivered, and to the patient would deliver better results and better experience. And so we're not just offering it to everybody now, we're restricting it. And these sites are going to be held to standards to keep their license. And we think it's the best way to go. And before we finish, we got to talk about Clotho.
Yes. All right. Well, let's launch into Clotho then. Clotho, you are always preaching the power of Clotho. It is some kind of protein I've never heard of. and you keep burying me with research and articles that only half of it I can even grasp or understand. But it's something that somebody discovered. Wasn't it in Japan or something? These guys?
1997 in Japan, yes.
And this is a protein that has gone unnoticed or overlooked, and this protein is at the core of your regenerative process here.
It's one of our star protein expressions and one of the most important areas of our research. So since 1997, 3,898 papers have been published on the subject.
Wow.
And if you read through all of them, we've read through most of them.
How did I miss this? How did I miss these papers?
They're stacked up on your desk out there.
I think he keeps bringing
We
them
left
by
them in
here.
your mailbox. The clear conclusion summary of those 3,898 published papers are if you're low in circulating Klotho, and Klotho is expressed through exercise, through muscle, through skin movement, and through kidney function.
That's what generates this protein.
It's which primary ways that we understand that it's generated.
Right.
If you're low in Klotho, you're aging more rapidly. It's a very simple way to say it. And if you're under 600 pg/ml, you're more apt to run into all the aging-related elements much earlier in your life, and that's everything.
Because
Loss
this
of
little
hair.
thing's not floating through what, your blood? Is that
Yep.
what it's
So we
floating
take a blood sample and we measure the circulating Klotho level in your blood. If you exercise vigorously 2 or 3 times a week, you'll elevate your circulating Klotho likely 3 to 6 to maybe 12%.
Right.
And by using our technology, the BodStim suit and other technologies we have, we can average better than 20% or 40%. Some of our patients have reached 230%. And
As a supplement. This isn't in place. This isn't just I want to be lazy and put a suit on and I don't want to exercise. This is taking what I can normally do myself, how much time, how much energy, how much willpower do I have to do this, and magnifying it. Sort of like AI, you're sort of magnifying it through the power of technology here or something.
that's true. And
I know. I have to throw AI into everything because everybody talks about AI as if that's the cure to everything here. But the idea is that some robot, some process, something is magnifying my ability to do something.
Well, I guess that is a excellent analogy. And if you're low in circulating Klotho, you're going to lose your hair more rapidly, get more wrinkles. Your heart is going to age quicker. Your kidney's going to age quicker. Higher chance to have early onset dementia and Alzheimer's. Higher chance to have hypertension. Higher chance to have cancer. Higher chance to have calcification of the arteries and the heart valves. On and on and on. Basically, everything bad that happens with advanced aging is going to hit you earlier. At least that's what the conclusion of these 3,898 papers are.
Right.
And we want to help people, and this is really the theme of the entire Lionheart Longevity and Wellness, is that, okay, you come in for your skin, you come in for your hair, which could be Klotho related.
Right.
Klotho is identified as one of the leading underlying causes of joint health breakdown. When you're low in Klotho, your matrix stiffens, and when your matrix stiffens, everything bad starts happening.
Yeah.
You quickly get to bone on bone. You quickly lose your cartilage, your meniscus, your muscle around your knee starts to get weaker, and that manifests itself in knee pain. And if our point with the whole Lionheart Longevity and Wellness is you might come in for skin, you might come in for hair, you might come in for sexual health or joint health, but we want to have you enter in to a full health optimization. And we want to be your coach, your partner in doing that. And what that means is we think it's going to be a revelation of our age group. We're all in the baby boomers. Mm-hmm. That if you proactively engage your health, you're going to do better than the people that aren't doing that. And what we want is to help people to do that, to be their coach, their partner, their technology partner, to help them live a longer, our goal is to help people 20 years longer of healthy life. So if they would have started breaking down at 70 and having everything go wrong, we want to at least stave that off until they're 90.
And that's what's so totally different about what you're doing. There are places I can go to regenerate hair. Lots of different. Maybe I implant stuff, or maybe I grow it, or I rub this stuff on, or I do something, whatever. There are plenty of places and products and pills I can take to fight sexual dysfunction, or increase my sexuality as I get older here, more testosterone, or what other sorts of things here. Joints, places that just say I'm a joint doctor, and chiropractics and all this kind of stuff. There are people who specialize in each of those things, and that's all you're there for. I want better skin, better hair, better joints, better performance, whatever it is. You're really using those as a come on, as a way to come on in and say, we got a whole different approach. If you accept and explore this, we think we can improve your overall longevity and health and wellness, because we think we found kind of the common core that sits at the base of these, and how to stimulate that clotho protein so that we can put off as long as possible these degenerative processes in the body here. I suspect that's why you're taking it to completion, because had you sold it to a big company, they would have just sold it as skin or joints or something. They might not have looked at it as a holistic, whole life extension program here. And you're so committed to that idea that I can't see you doing it any other way than somehow building through partnerships, licenses, maybe franchises someday, somehow bringing people in and having some direction and control over this. Because that's really what you're going to create, a clinic that we're going to, if I see the vision at the end of the road, I'm going to go there for all sorts of things for a long time, for all the time. This is like my health club. I'm going to go hang out there and get lots of different treatments and lots of different things, underlying this idea that there is a commonality to all these degenerative things that happen with age. Am I overstating that?
Well said. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's pretty mind-blowing. Scott, did it blow your mind as much as it does mine here? Is this, I don't know what your previous position was. I don't know enough about this other company. They had some sort of regenerative clinics that they opened up. Did they see it on that kind of scale? Is this life-altering or just life-improving?
Oh, definitely life-altering as well, but in a different way. At QC Kinetics, we are focused solely on the musculoskeletal issues such as arthritis and whatnot.
Right.
So what has impressed me about what we're doing here is just the whole commitment to not just joint health, which is a part of that big four, as Howard keeps talking about.
And they are big four. Those are, and I could come up with four more on top of that, I'm sure here.
Well, I mean, there's everybody has a need in most people have a need in
everybody
one of those,
has a need in one of those things, and or in one of these other things. I go to parties now, and we just go down our checklist. You got this one? No, but I got this one. Oh, have you got this one? Yeah, I just started getting this one here.
Yeah. And what has, I guess, when you talk about mind blowing, Paul, the thing is just getting to know Howard a little bit over the last 24 hours. And you asked him the question about, well, why don't you, develop this technology or develop this IP and then sell it off just keep doing that like any inventor
like he did when he made his stints
do.
And all these other things. He built it and he sold it off. And
But he's truly committed to this cause. And I'm glad that I've had a chance to be out here for the last couple of days, because I've been able to see firsthand his commitment to this cause of healthy aging and extended aging, but doing it in a healthy manner.
Yeah.
And truly passionate and committed about that. And just
it's a
happy
whole
to be a part of it.
whole different way of thinking. It isn't just a cure for a common problem. Gee, everybody's got hair loss, so I'm going to come up with a hair loss product here. Or everybody's got joint pain, so I'm going to come up with some way to ease that or help that. Yes, and it's not one. This is an introduction to an underlying approach that he seems to think can extend life itself in a healthy way. Is that what we're doing?
A lot of people never think about their health until they're flat down in an ambulance on the way to the hospital.
Amen
after
to
a heart
that.
attack or
Right.
after something bad has happened. They're too busy in their lives, and it's kind of funny that they'll spend more time on maintaining their car maybe than they will
Yeah.
their health. And we want to reach people. I lost my father last fall, and he was on 16 different drugs for heart failure and kidney failure.
So sorry
And
to hear
those-
it. Went through the same thing with both of my parents who passed away a number of years ago, and the last years were painful.
Those
So-
damn drugs are not enough,
No.
and I wish I would have tried to be more pushy as a son to push him towards building up his muscles and doing all the things that we have learned. But he trusted the old system, and not against him. It's like any other
Yeah.
person. He felt like he goes to his doctor, and it's a trusted person that's taking the conservative route. Well, the conservative route isn't so conservative. In his case, the conservative route led to his demise. And
Yeah.
there's other fathers out there, people that are watching this that have their
And mothers and
their-
brothers and sisters and
Exactly.
everybody. I've been through the whole thing here. Yeah.
And we with Lionheart Longevity and Wellness, we want to encourage people to engage their health earlier, before they're in the back of an ambulance rushing in. And Clotho is known to reduce calcification of arteries and heart valves, and calcification of arteries often lead to heart attacks that put people in ambulances.
Clearly.
Going in. And our health optimization program, we take a blood test, we take a DNA test, an oral microbiome test, a gut microbiome test. We send you over to a nearby MRI whole body scanner, and we work with our physician team, which is an excellent team of medical directors, including Dr. Sanjay Borsraj, who was on the show before. And we develop a customized plan. And a lot of the stuff is not our patented technology. It's customized diet based on the right micronutrients that we've analyzed from the test we've done. It's supplements. People will criticize supplements, but we're a believer of some good supplements are really good.
Okay.
And then we want you to exercise with our BodStim suit. And the BodStim suit is 1 hour, 2 or 3 times a week, 5 minutes of warm up, 20 minutes of exercise, 35 minutes with the Clotho signal on that you can relax and do whatever you want to do, and 5 minutes of the Follistatin that you can watch and relax, or do whatever you want, watch the debate or football.
That raised my blood level
and,
enough here, my blood pressure.
But we do want you to exercise 20 minutes at least twice a week, and better yet, more than that. And so exercise, diet. So some of this stuff is not the magic technology, patented
Because
stuff.
there isn't a magic bullet.
Right.
That's what we too often want. Give me the pill and I go on with my life and eat crappy and don't exercise and don't sleep and get too much stress, and gee, why am I not feeling good and having failing health? There isn't a procedure. Yes, sometimes I need a knee replacement. I need a heart replacement. Yes, it gets serious enough that thank God we have that stuff and it keeps us going. But that's not enough. And certainly not enough to stop you from getting there. That's the item of last resort, not first resort. And I think that's what we're looking for as a generation. Do everything I can, exercise, diet, technology, coaching, science, to keep me from sliding into that until I'm not going to go gently into the dark night, as the poet Dylan Thomas said. I'm going to rage against the dying light. I want to fight this thing as long as I can, because I want to make every minute count. And I think my parents just sat back and said, give me the pill, give me the procedure. And that was it. And they thought that was the magic bullet that would fix everything. And it didn't. It just, some cases magnified it. It extended life somewhat, but at what cost? They're zoned out. They're zombies. My mother was on so many pills, and she didn't even know who she was at the end here.
Yeah,
but we
mine
just
too.
just giving her more pills. So yes, I've been there. I've seen that decline, and I want to do everything I can to fight it and stop it. How do we enlist in this cause? How do we enter the ranks of the revolutionaries here and look at this in a different way? Where do we go to find more?
LionheartLongevity.com. Then click on the location. If you're here in Newport Beach, click on the Newport Beach location. And, we all have, especially us that live here in Orange County, have we're lucky to live here. All of us are lucky to be alive. And
well, we have a commitment to a lifestyle. That's why we surf and we walk and it's sunny all the time. People come here trying to live a healthier lifestyle, I think, by and large. We're both from the Midwest. People are still eating and vegetating and getting fat back there. I'm sorry, all my friends and family, but that's what you're doing back there. So I think by definition, it's going to come out of this kind of culture and this environment. We as a group want to live better and longer. That's why we moved here, to take advantage of all the opportunities that are here. So there is one here, and you're talking about places where people have money and the desire to do the most they can. Is this eventually going to be in mom and pop America too, or is this just for the affluent and the high price locations?
Comment on that, Scott?
Yeah, I think in some form or fashion, it may not be the exact same duplicate as what we have here in Newport Beach, but in some form or fashion, for sure. But I think, and Howard, correct me if I'm wrong, that the target for the next few years is to go into markets where we know that there's a high demand for this type of
there's money,
this type of service.
There's a desire for it. They want to live the good life for as long as they can here, and they have the ability to do that. And
We do have the goal to make better health affordable to masses of people, and when people come in, we will do our best to customize a program for their health that fits in with their time availability. Busy parents with kids and
clearly.
jobs, and we want to customize it to make it work with their life. So we will have very expensive programs that will include advanced therapies, but we will also have, it doesn't cost a lot to exercise with the suit 2 or 3 times a week, or to eat healthy meals.
Right.
And we want to help every person that comes in to have a healthier life. And Dr. Miller, who is our chief medical officer, 250 publications, a leader of 115 clinical trials, past president of the International Heart, Lung, and Blood Transplantation Society. Dr. Dipti Itchaporia here in Orange County, 2022 president of the American College of Cardiology and an advisor to us. We kind of thought at the beginning that taking away wrinkles and growing hair and maybe even sexual health was not at the standards that we were used to in the vigorous research.
A little below what you could be shooting for here, huh?
I'm trying to find polite words for that. But we've changed our mind about that, particularly Les and I, Dipti's coming around, that we realize that if we help people look younger, we have technology to reduce belly fat, buttocks fat, thigh fat. We have technology to help people reduce their wrinkles, to get their hair back, to get their sexual health back and their joint health back, that those things will put them on a path for better health. And we are going to unabashedly, when they come in, try to use that foundation of whether it's just taking away wrinkles or growing hair to try to change their entire life.
Yeah,
now, if somebody wants to lay down and get a facial and relax, we're not going to bother them. We talked to our nurses today and they're all aboard that, some people just want to relax, get their facial, and don't want to be told anything about anything.
As they want to go. That's all they're looking for here. But I think that's a good point, because if you look better and feel a little better, maybe I'll want to go a little higher up the mountain.
Yes.
I only can see so far right now. I just want to get over this cliff right now. I'm losing my hair. I'm losing this. I'm losing that. I can't function. I can't. And you're asking me to get radically change my life and do all these things. I just want to get up in the morning and have my knee not hurt. So at some point, if you get past some of those beginning steps, I would think it starts to open the door. This really works, number one. And two, maybe there's something more I could do. Maybe I'm inspired to go further.
Well, and that's the point of differentiation, right? I mean, there's a million. If you want to enhance your hair or enhance your sexual health or whatever, there's a million places here in the Los Angeles metro area to go and do that. But our differentiation is that we're the only ones that are going to be able to give you an opportunity to go beyond just the superficial, the outside stuff, and be able to learn about how you can improve your longevity and your healthy.
Paul, I want to make one other point. And sorry, Scott. I want people to understand too that we're committed to research forward, and that when you come in to get your facial at our place, some of that proceeds is going to go back into some pretty important things. We here at UCI Cove, in collaboration with researchers around the world, including Brazil, including the Integrative Health Institute across the street, are doing research on
Samueli Integrative, funded by Susan Samueli.
Amazing place, and thank you to Susan and Henry for doing that.
The Broadcom people, if you don't know.
We're doing bioelectric stimulation to treat hypertension, and hypertension is an underlying health problem that worsens any health you may have, and they're doing an independent study at the Samueli Integrative Health Institute. Dr. Shaista Malik, the director there, is one of our advisors as well.
You can say Shaista Malik and you can't say Samueli.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, he's used to saying Shyster at some point.
And so when you get a facial, some of that money is going into research that could save your life. That's a short way of saying that. And we're going to continue. And we're working to develop, as you've mentioned before, Paul, a womb for adults, an entire regeneration chamber. And what we're learning by regenerating skin and regenerating joint health, some of that is going to go towards our ultimate vision to develop a total organ regeneration chamber, a womb for adults. We're not there yet, but we're doing it in steps. And we're doing it in collaboration with some really amazing people, like Dr. Shaista Malik at the director of the Integrative Health Institute, which is right across the street here.
So you're not just making a tasty meal like they did at Domino's and bringing it to them faster here. You're changing my life. That's a bigger goal than most franchises have. I mean,
I've ordered that pizza before, and it's allowed me to keep working where I didn't have to go out. So I would say that Domino's changes good lives too, because it allows busy people to get a hot meal without taking up time.
It allowed students at U of M to get pizza delivered in the snow, and that was life-saving for us here. Well, thank you for coming in. I'm just always blown away by these conversations, and each step of the process, I go, there he goes. He's really doing it. He's taking it to the next level. He's not just talking about it. He's not just dreaming about it. He's not just experimenting on it. You're actually doing it. And now you've got people on board like Scott Hoots as your fractional CEO. It's the start of a team, and all those other people he rattled off, who can take this really worldwide, certainly nationwide, in a very short period of time, and perhaps change what that last act of our lives looks like. That would be not just extending it, but improving it, making it worth living for, not just keeping you alive. Love the idea. Hope to hear more. Thanks so much. Give us the website one last time here. It's Howard Leonhardt, but you're with Lionheart, Longevity and Wellness. And they can look that up on the internet and find that.
LionheartLongevity.com.
Okay. Thanks so much for coming in, guys.
Thanks,
and look forward to talking again here. Well, there you have it. One more reason to tune in each and every time to the OC Spotlight as we try and show you some of the most incredible people doing the most amazing things right here in your own backyard. Broadcasting live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.